This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
And welcome to the X-Zone, everyone. It is Friday, March the 7th. And my name is Rob McConnell, and for the next 4 hours, I'm your host and your guide as together we cross the time-space continuum to this place that I call the X-Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X-Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until 2 a.m. Eastern, right here live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network, X-Zone TV, and on shortwave, through our broadcast affiliates across Canada, the United States, Central America, South America, the Pacific Rim, the Caribbean, 20 Asian countries, and Europe. If you'd like to give us a call at any time tonight during the show to speak to any of our very interesting four guests, toll free 1-877-528-8255. That's 1-877-528-8255, which is toll free throughout the U.S., Canada, Alaska, and Hawaii. My email address is xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, you can chat with us here in our Hamilton studios by using the MSN address talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our two websites, www.xzoneradio.com and www.xzonetv.com, where you can watch and listen to the show when we broadcast live. On tonight's show, we have Dr. Georgina Cannon, who's going to be joining me in a few minutes. She is with the Ontario Hypnosis Center. Sherry Schreiner will be joining us to talk about UFOs, aliens on Earth, and subjects right up to the Bible Code. Hour number 3, Robert Morningstar is going to be talking about the alleged UFO-UN connection. And in our 4th hour, Robert, or UFO Bob Kewen, will be joining me to talk about the suppression of UFOs over Wisconsin. That's tonight here on the X-Zone. It is Friday, March the 7th in the year 2008, and on this date in 1777, the Oregon coast was spotted by Captain Cook. The famous botanist Luther Burbank was born on this date in 1849. On this date in 1854, the first sewing machine to sew buttonholes was invented. In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell received a patent for his invention, the telephone. And it was on this date in 1897 that Dr. John Kellogg served one of his patients at a mental hospital the very first bowl of cornflakes. I nearly said snowflakes. On this date in 1933, the board game Monopoly was introduced. And today is, let me see, whose birthday is it? Laura Prepon turns 28 today. She played Donna in the TV hit series That 70s Show. Rachel Weisz celebrates her 37th birthday today. Taylor Dane turns 46 today, and Eternal Weather Guy Willard Scott is 74 years young today. Things you need to know: Patrick Swayze has pancreatic cancer and is undergoing treatment. Whoopi Goldberg says Swayze is the reason that she won the Oscar for Ghost. Dancing with the Stars pro Julianne Howe says that she's still saving herself for marriage. Yep, she claims that she's still a good girl. A study by the National Sexuality Research Center found that 30% of women who met a man online have sex with them on their first date. Interesting statistics. The Beastie Boys are currently in studio working on a new album. And in South Pasadena, California, they have banned all cursing during the first week in March, and it will continue to be banned during the first week of March for every year from now on. Red Book Magazine asked readers, what helps you to unwind before bedtime? 38% of the people polled said reading, 35% said watching TV, 17% said snuggling with their better part, 9% said a bubble bath, and 1% said making a to-do list for the next day. When we come back from this 2-minute commercial break, I will be joined by Dr. Georgina Cannon of the Ontario Hypnosis Center. She's got a brand new book that is out, and we're going to be talking to Georgina about her book and other topics that are related to the Ontario Hypnosis Center in Toronto. 1-877-528-8255 is my toll-free number. Email xzone@talkstarradio.com. On MSN Messenger, talkstarradio@hotmail.com. And our two websites, www.xzoneradio.com and www.xzonetv.com. The X-Zone with yours truly, Rob McConnell, returns in 2 minutes with Dr. Georgina Cannon, right here live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine like hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining room can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you're visiting, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
This is Johanna Carroll, host of Dialogue with Divinity on the X-Zone Broadcast Network. While walking along Kaanapali Beach in Maui this past year, I kept discovering all these shells and coral in the shape of hearts. My dialogue with Divinity was very simple. Do you want me to do a retreat to heal people's hearts in Maui next year? And of course, the answer was yes. As a master spiritual teacher, I am offering you a neat retreat called Rise, May 8th through the 12th, 2017, and the chance of a lifetime to rest at a 5-star resort for 5 days and experience a spiritual renewal of your heart and soul. Kaanapali is one of the top 5 beaches in the world. This stunning resort has undergone a $40 million renovation. I walked the entire property, checked out the room choices on your behalf, and I must say it is stunning. Our conference room faces the ocean with sliding glass doors. Maui is known as Mother Maui because it is a soft, gentle, healing energy. In the embrace of Mother Maui, you will feel yourself rising from the limitations of an ordinary life to an extraordinary journey of peace, bliss, and harmony. A greater sense of clarity. Our Rise retreat ignites renewal in the sacred elements of air, water, earth, fire, and wind. There's plenty of free time to enjoy all that Maui has to offer. A small deposit is required now to reserve your space, as this retreat, it will sell out. For more details, please go to johannacarroll.com and register today. Aloha, and I'll see you in mystical Maui.
Dr. Georgina Cannon is my special guest. She is the director of the Ontario Hypnosis Center. She is a board-certified consulting hypnotherapist, doctor of metaphysical consulting and counseling, NLP Master, timeline practitioner, past life regression therapist, and accredited instructor for the National Guild of Hypnotists. the Medical and Dental Hypnotherapy Association, and the International Board of Regression Therapies. She is also on the advisory board of the National Guild of Hypnotists and Hypnotists. At the 2004 NGH Convention, Georgina received the Charles Tebbetts Award for Teaching and Education for spreading the light. She is the first Canadian and the first woman recipient. In 2005, Georgina was inducted into the Order of the Braid in recognition of outstanding achievement, dedication, and service to the hypnosis profession. On the first Monday of every month at 8 o'clock, Georgina hosts a chat room on the ShirleyMacLaine.com discussing and answering questions about past life regression and the benefits of hypnosis and hypnotherapy. And she is also a wonderful author. And Georgina Cannon, how are you, my dear friend? Welcome back to the X Zone.
Thank you. You know, I'm so happy to be here on the day that Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone. I think that's so great. What would we do without it?
Now we would do a lot more chapping and using Skype.
Yeah, that's true.
So what is new at the Ontario Hypnosis Centre?
What do? We help people find their own magnificence. I know it sounds a little pompous, but in fact that's really what it is. Once people understand the power of their own mind, they suddenly realize how wonderful life can be and how wonderful they are. And it's all about them. It's not about us or about anybody else. It's all about them discovering themselves.
I would imagine in today's society, the concept of people having control over their own lives and destiny gets lost in the shuffle.
Oh, it gets lost in the dust and noise of bureaucracy and fear-mongering, and it just totally gets lost. And the more people that come into the clinic that are stressed out or frightened or fearful about life in general, and one of the things that they do, which is a little concerning, is that they do what we call spiritual bypass. They come in and read about spirituality from one of the many books that are out there, and they start saying things like, "I want to be enlightened," and can we do it like this week or next week? I want my life to be different. I want to be enlightened now. And I have to explain that it takes a while to be enlightened, but we can certainly start on the journey, and the journey itself brings peace and understanding about yourself.
What are the steps to this journey of self-understanding, Georgina?
Well, the first step and the most important step is to really get it, that you are in charge, that you really can make choices. And it's not the luxury of a North American. Because people say to me, well, that's fine, but what happens if you're born in the Sudan? Or what happened in the concentration camps? They didn't have any choice. Well, the point is, to a certain extent they didn't, but ultimately they did. They had choice in how they viewed it. They had choice in every day in whether they lived or died, and many of them made that choice every day when they woke up. So we do have choice in how we live our life, but most people don't know that. They think life happens to them. They don't realize that we can make it happen.
I think that a lot of people believe that the way their life is going is the way that destiny has decided, and they refuse to make any changes because they firmly believe that
it's karma.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, in my new book, I talk about karma and how, yes, there is such a thing as karma. And we call it, in the day-to-day, we call it what goes around comes around. But ultimately, again, it's how you live your life that makes the karma. You may be dealt a handful of cards. You may have come in with ill health, or you may have come in with, living in circumstances that are not ideal. But what you do with it is up to you. How you handle those cards, how you play them. Whether you choose to play bridge or poker, whether you choose to play patience or you choose not to play at all, and just say, well, this is it, and give up.
1-877-528-8255 is our toll-free number. Dr. Georgina Cannon is our very special guest. And if you'd like to contact the Ontario Hypnosis Centre for consultation, if you'd like to find out what courses they offer, if you'd like to just call them up and say, where can I get some of your CDs or your books, their toll-free number is 866-497-7469. Or you can drop into their offices at 94 Cumberland Street, Suite 310 in Toronto, Ontario.
They're very friendly.
Very friendly, and they've got a great coffee shop downstairs.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We should have shares in it, actually.
It's either that or start selling Tim Hortons upstairs. Huh?
Yes, that's right. Well, I've often thought we should be selling either the coffee downstairs or have shares in the Kleenex company, because people come in and they literally do change their lives, and with that comes a catharsis of maybe sometimes for the very first time crying.
Really?
Yeah, we get a lot of tears in the clinic. And sometimes they're tears of joy and understanding and recognition, but sometimes they are tears of sadness of what took me so long,
Georgina, I've got an IM here from a listener who is listening to us in Perth, Australia. They would like to know what the difference between hypnosis and NLP is.
Well, what a great question. NLP comes from hypnosis. NLP was taken from the concept of hypnosis, of taking someone into an altered state or inside themselves and actually getting them to change patterns. NLP really is a process of looking at the very best practices of people such as scientists, sports figures, writers, psychologists, psychiatrists, the brains and these successful brains, and looking at them and seeing what they do to become successful. What are the behaviors? The behaviors are broken down in minute detail. What are the behaviors that create success? And along with the behaviors, what is the thought process that creates success? And that is called neurolinguistic programming. And what, in fact, we do in our clinic is use NLP in hypnosis, and it makes things move a lot faster. For instance, we can change an addiction to, say, chocolate in about 15 minutes, and you just don't want it again. And you can do it with hypnosis, but it takes a little longer. It takes an hour and a half.
But
with NLP, it works a lot quicker. You can use NLP to help understand communication, how people speak, what motivates them, what turns them on, what they move away from, and what they move toward. So if you're a salesperson, it's ideal, because you're breaking down behaviors again, and you're learning to recognize speech patterns and behaviors in minute detail.
Now
That's what neurolinguistic programming is.
You've got a brand new book out. Can you tell us about your new book?
Yes. Well, it's coming out actually in April, and it's called Discovering the Interlife and Your Journey Between Lifetimes. And it is about that passage in between past lives. So we all know about past life regression. But what about the space in between? And it's the space in between that allows the soul to regenerate and rejuvenate, meet the soul circle or meet your soulmates, learn new things that you need to bring back with you in your next lifetime. You go in front of a council, and you also get to choose your body, which is always fascinating. You get to choose your body to come in this life with, so that you can do your soul journey.
So it's like a debriefing.
It's like a debriefing, but also a planning, but with great peace and great love. And it's quite extraordinary because being an ex-journalist, I'm pretty cynical.
Sure.
And I learned this process many years ago from reading books by Woolger and Dolores Cannon, and thought I'd work on it with some of my clients. But the thing that floors me is that even though people don't know about it, after about the first 50 or 60 clients, I began to realize that everybody took the same type of journey, even though they didn't know where they were going. And I certainly don't lead them. They meet their spirit guide, and I say, and then now where you're going? Well, they're taking me to meet a group of people, and they might say the council or the judges, or they might say a group of, and then taking me to meet my circle, where I'll see my mates, my soulmates that travel with me in other lifetimes, and they're equally surprised. So it's not put into their mind in any way, shape, or form at all, and then I started doing research with other writers and other people who had recorded interlife process. And it's all pretty much the same. How people get there is different because we all have different facilitation processes.
Does it matter on your philosophical or religious beliefs?
Only in that we see what we look for. So, for instance, if you are a hellfire and brimstone type of religious-based person, when you go into the interlife, you probably have to go through that piece first until you hit the light. So when the soul leaves the body, you may have to go through some form of pain. But if you're not, we see what we look for. So the spirit guide, if you're a Buddhist, might look like a Buddha. Or it might just look like an orb of light. or it might look like Mary or Jesus. Your spirit guide takes on what we look for, because that's how we manifest.
When was the first hint that there was an in-between life?
Well, think about the pharaohs. They buried their dead along with wives and dogs and cats and
so much for eternal
goods,
peace. Yeah.
They knew they were going somewhere, but they thought they would want all that stuff with them, but they knew there was an afterwards.
Good point.
So it's been since way back then, and shamanic journeying goes through into life, even though sometimes the shaman himself or herself will take on some shape-shifting, and they may become an animal of some sort.
Georgina, stand by, my dear. You and I have to take a commercial break. And the news at the bottom of the hour, our very special guest is my good friend, Dr. Georgina Cannon. She is with the Ontario Hypnosis Center. She is the lady at the helm of the Ontario Hypnosis Center. They're located at 94 Cumberland Street, Suite 310 in Toronto, Ontario. You can call them toll-free, 866-497-4769. Online, www.ontariohypnosiscenter.com. And center is spelled C-E-N-T-R-E. My name is Rob McConnell. Dr. Georgina Cannon and I return on the other side of the news as the X Zone continues live from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, exclusively on Talkstar.
Take a step back in time and discover old Florida cuisine at Marsh Landing Restaurant in Fellsmere, Florida. Enjoy delicacies such as frog legs, gator tail, catfish, and swamp cabbage, or enjoy the more traditional cuisine such as hand-cut Angus steaks, ribs, and seafood. Join us for breakfast with a southern flair featuring sweet potato pancakes, biscuits and gravy, and much more. Planning a party? Marsh Landing's private dining rooms can accommodate groups from 8 to 80 people. While you visit, enjoy the historic pictures, artifacts, and stories that line the walls. Marsh Landing is truly a unique experience. Marsh Landing Restaurant, 44 North Broadway in historic downtown Fellsmere, or visit marshlandingrestaurant.com. Marsh Landing, old Florida cuisine at its best.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, X-1, Dimension X, Space Patrol, and every minute of the X Zone Broadcast Network by calling 213-401-0080, courtesy of Audio Now. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 213-401-0080 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 213-401-0080 for the best of the paranormal, parapsychology, and sci-fi radio programming anywhere, 24/7, 365.
Dr. Georgina Cannon is our very special guest this first hour of tonight's show. And what a show we've got planned for you tonight. Joining me in the second hour, we have Sherry Schreiner. We're going to be talking about UFOs, aliens on Earth, right to the Bible code. Robert Morningstar is going to be with us in hour number 3 talking about an alleged UFO-UN connection. And then Robert UFO Bob Kewen will be talking about the suppression of UFOs over Wisconsin. That's tonight here in the X Zone. Georgina, Crystal Gale said, people in their sleep when they talk never lie. Is that true?
I can't talk for her, but I do know that in hypnosis people can lie.
They can.
Or fabricate. Because you're always conscious, you're always aware, so you can choose what you say. Which is why they don't allow it as evidence in court, certainly in North America. They use it as backup information, but they don't allow it as pure evidence.
If someone is talking in their sleep, is this another form of hypnosis that the person is under, or is it just a reaction to the dream state? It's
in reaction to the dream state, which is different to hypnosis. But quite often our dreams are a form of past life awareness, because it's at a deep subconscious level and it's trying to make itself known.
How is past life passed from one life to the next? Where is it carried?
It's carried at the soul level. It's carried deep within you. But there's some awareness of it, interestingly enough. It's also carried in the body. Many body workers will tell you that from time to time when they're working with people, they release deep emotion. You know, they may be giving them a massage of their arms or the center of the back or across the shoulders, and suddenly that person feels deeply sad and starts to cry. And that's often because they've touched on something that is comes from a different lifetime. It's an old memory that they only thought they'd forgotten.
So it's like, now when the person is reborn, why do they bring the past life with them? Why is this part of the luggage or baggage that they carry?
Because the soul doesn't die. The soul is everlasting. It's the original recycling program. It's energy, and energy doesn't disappear. So you bring that part of you that is everlasting. And this is not a new concept. This is a very old concept.
Is there any proof that we have a soul?
That's a very good question. There is proof that there is something other than us. There's proof that we have some form of architect that helps us form decision-making and processes, and that actually enables the biology of our body to work. And not only our body, but the universe itself. All of those creatures beneath the sea that we never know about until scientists go and find them. There's a greater being, there's a greater something that is organizing all of this architecture, and that is the type of energy. And the fact that we are energy is our soul.
We talked briefly in the first half hour about between lifetimes and how we go before a council or a circle, as some people have reported, and we choose our next body and so on. Do we also choose where we come back to? Are there other places that we could choose to return to besides planet Earth?
Oh, indeed. Absolutely. Some people go to different planets. Certainly in past lives, people go to different planets. The other thing that happens is that we choose our parents, which for some people is a horrific idea. You mean I actually chose that person to be my parent?
Yeah, I did pretty good then.
Yeah, well, lucky you. Some people didn't do so well. But what it does is tell you which boxes to tick off next time. You'll be a little more careful. But basically, we choose our parents. We choose the type of life we need to lead to learn the lesson the soul needs to learn. Because we're on a learning journey. We're here to reach bliss. We're here to move up through the hierarchy, if you like, of becoming truly at one with God, or whatever you term God to be for you.
All right, if we keep learning this from the people who are on this level, if we, like yourself, when you do the past life regression or in between life, how do we know there's more if we're only dealing with people at one certain level?
Because it gives you like an opening. It enables you to glance through a door or a window that you hadn't experienced before. And the more you do it, the more you go through. And all we are is facilitators. I certainly don't tell you where to go or what you're going to see. All I do is give you a voice to hang on to as you take the journey yourself. And the more you do it, the more profound it becomes. And the further and deeper you go within your soul being, and you gain a deeper understanding, so that eventually you can do it yourself, as many of the monks do and the people who study and meditate for many years do.
The many people that you've spoken to over the years, Georgina, about between life or past life,
yes.
Where is our origin?
Well, we come from the spark. We come from the original light, part of the original energy that was God or is God. What we are is beyond the Big Bang, bigger than the universe. Let's face it, these scientists are only now beginning to say there are other galaxies just like ours. Mm-hmm. And those like us say, well, we knew that. We knew that. You just had to prove it yourself. So we've, like all energy, we've come from the beginning of time. We are the beginning of time. And we are all connected to everything there is because we're all part of everything.
But if we are never ending spirituals or spirits or souls, why is it then that in our society we fear death?
Because we don't know that. We fear anything we don't understand, which is why bigotry exists. We fear anything we're not used to seeing or we don't see as part of our day-to-day life. We fear anything and everything that is different. But the more you do the past life regression or the life between lives, and the more you connect with who you are and where you belong in the universe, the less you fear death. In fact, when people take past life regression sessions, occasionally they don't want to come back because it's so much nicer there than it is here. So we have to really discuss with them. That's what I was teaching today in the class. We have to really discuss with them that this is only temporary, that they will go back to that wonderful space. This is just temporary so they can come here to learn and enable others to do what they need to do as well.
If someone learns how to do this at home by themselves, is it possible that they could actually leave themselves in the other realm?
No, because a part of you is always aware, part of you is always here. The subconscious mind, its first job on this planet at this time is to protect you and to keep you safe. So it's always aware. And surgeons now know this, that even when you're under anesthetic, there's a part of you that's always aware, which is why they watch their conversations when they're doing surgery these days, because they've learned that people can hear.
Is it fair to say then that a past life regression or a past life experience is like a near-death experience?
I would say it's the other way around. Near-death experience can be similar to going into a past life or a life between lives, because people go into the light. And the difference is they go into the light and they stay there. They are sent back in a near-death experience. They don't go beyond.
It must be wonderful to see the changes that you make in lives.
It's extraordinary, and it's so humbling, and it's awe-inspiring. The people that are in the class today were so moved by the journeys they went through and they facilitated with each other. They were just drained at the end of the day. They were just so moved by it all. It was, even though they were simple lives, many of them, they were just extraordinary. They just couldn't believe it. It's the first time they'd done it. It was the first day of class, but they were just having a wonderful time. And they were trying tears of joy and tears of sadness, and they were surprised how profound it was.
What has been the most moving case you've ever worked on, Georgina?
Most moving case?
The most moving case, yeah.
Apart from my own. The most moving case, actually today, we have a woman in our class from Peru. And she came via Brazil to here. And she had this past life regression where she went back to being an 8-year-old boy in something like 17th century, and she was in a shipwreck, and she was washed up on this rock in the middle of the ocean, a very small island, and she was by herself, or he was by himself, and there was no one else on this small island. There was very little vegetation, and she could see, or he could see, the boats passing in the far distance, and he could do nothing, day after day, scrambling for food, didn't know what to do, was terrified as a child, and in the end got a branch and figured the only way I'm going to leave is by going out to the ocean, and maybe the ocean will carry me back to another ship, because he died, he drowned, and was eaten by a shark. But, I mean, that was very moving and very profound. And she said that in this current life, she does scuba diving, but she's always had this overriding fear of dark shadows underwater, and now she knows where it comes from.
How do people react when they go into a past life and they experience their own death?
Well, it's very commonplace. Particularly in early times, it was just a cycle of life. You know, people lost children all the time. They lost women in childbirth all the time. And you cut your leg and it turned gangrene and you died from that. It was just a cycle of life. It's only comparatively recently that we have made it a terrible thing. When you think about it, it's, you know, in the 17th, 18th, even 19th centuries, it was just part of life that you died. And most people died a lot younger than we do now.
So, having lived through a dying experience, if they're in a past life and they actually die again, does this change their outlook on death when they come out of the?
You totally lose your fear of it, because you understand that it's just process. It's like the flowers in the garden. They bloom, they wither, they die, and they come back again next spring.
Tell me, would past life regression be of any comfort to a person who's in a hospice, who is just
frequently
waiting to make that voyage?
Frequently. We have many palliative care nurses and palliative care social workers coming to take the course. Frequently. And the interesting thing is that many people, as they get closer, begin to know that. They begin to get ready to leave and know that. It's not a fear. The only people that are really frightened, that are angry about leaving, are people who have lived in fear in this life, or who have unfinished business. But by and large, people who die gently know they're going to a better place. And it's nothing to do with religion per se. It's to do with a deep knowing and understanding.
So there's nothing to fear except fear itself.
Absolutely. Now, would we want to go through pain before we die? Would we want to go through the suffocation of being in a fire?
Not this, kid.
Or dry? You know, that's what we fear, I think. It's not the actual soul leaving the body. It's the pain before. That's my take on it anyway.
When you're doing past life regressions, do you see the pain that the person is going through? Is it real to them?
We make sure that they leave the body and they watch the process, because you have to complete the life. You have to complete the life so that you can do any forgiveness or healing or gathering of wisdom that you need to do, so that you can close off the life. If it's emotional pain, they need to go through it.
When was this concept discovered? I know we talked about the afterlife as far as the Egyptians are concerned, but when did this really grip North America? Probably
Edgar Cayce started that, making it popular in the 50s, 1950s, 60s. We've always sort of vaguely known about it in England. You know, I grew up in England, and we take for granted things like fairies and ghosts, and sort of a part of the family, if you know what I mean. It's not woo-woo at all, just is. But Edgar Cayce made it more acceptable and more famous.
Stand by, Georgina. You and I have to take a commercial break. We'll be back shortly. Dr. Georgina Cannon is the director of the Ontario Hypnosis Centre, www.ontariohypnosiscentre.com. They're located at 94 Cumberland Street, Suite 310 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Their toll-free number is 866-497-7469. They offer courses. They offer many services that we're going to be talking about when we return from this commercial break, right here live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Blizzardy, Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly.
In over 36 years in law enforcement, I've learned a few things. The most important is the proper gathering and preservation of evidence is vital to putting the bad guy behind bars. It's no different in the world of paranormal investigation. Whether it's the search for the afterlife, cryptozoology, extraterrestrials, and UFOs, how we gather that evidence of their existence, preserve that same evidence, and present it to a court of our peers will make the ultimate difference in proving the existence of worlds and entities that are beyond our imagination. Come with me on a journey that seeks to prove with undisputable evidence what man has struggled to believe for centuries. Join me, Larry Lawson, host of the Paranormal Stakeout, coming to the X Zone Broadcast Network. Check out the broadcast schedule for Paranormal Stakeout with yours truly, Larry Lawson, at www.xzbn.net. For more information about me, my travels, and my team, check out our website at www.paranormalfbi.com or join us on Facebook at Florida Bureau of Paranormal.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
You're listening to the X Zone Broadcast Network, www.xzbn.net.
Dr. Georgina Cannon is our guest this hour, X Zone Nation. She's with the director of the Ontario Hypnosis Center, located at 94 Cumberland Street, Suite 310 in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Their toll-free number is 1-866-497-7469. And for those of you who can call the GTA as local calling, area code 416-489-0333. Georgina, what kind of courses do you have going for the public these days at the Ontario Hypnosis Center?
Well, right now we're in the middle of the past life regression course, and just come off the basic hypnosis course, which is a 3-weekend course where you learn how to do hypnosis for yourself and for other people. Learn how to help them quit smoking, lose weight, how to release fears and phobias. And once you've done that, then you can do other things like hypnosis for children or hypnosis for birthing or past life regression or NLP or hypnosis for sports, which is another thing coming up shortly. We have somebody teaching hypnosis for sports. And a lot of golfers love to use hypnosis. It helps them focus and concentrate.
I can just see them on the golf course with their little ball on their tee saying, "You are getting sleepy. You are getting sleepy."
Not quite like
that. No, not that kind.
Focus.
And of course, now the course for the sports for the children. What's that about? I've never heard that before.
Well, you literally work with sports teams. Interesting enough, athletes use hypnosis all the time. They just don't know it. They call it the zone, and it's a type of focus that is concentrated, that shuts everything else out, even though you know where you are and what's happening. So it's great for team sports, especially soccer, basketball. So a lot of our grads work with high school teams and university teams to help them get better.
So it's called the zone.
It's called the zone, yeah. Runners go into the zone, which is like a heightened awareness.
I'll have to tell Laura that I'm not ignoring her. I'm in the zone.
And then she'll blame me.
I won't tell her you told me that. Georgina, first of all, you are going to be going on a trip soon, and you've got a birthday coming up very shortly, so happy birthday to you.
Thank you so much. Actually, I've been invited to go to Israel to teach past life regression, which is a lot of fun.
Isn't that wonderful?
That'll be in November, but I'm now off to Spain. Yes, I'm going to Spain for my birthday, which will be terrific.
Well, you've got family in Spain, don't you?
I have very close friends that are like family in Spain, and they also listen to you, of course.
Say hi to them.
Well, you say hi to them.
Hi there.
They're in Marbella and Cordoba. Ah.
Well, listen.
By the way, I love your music this evening.
Well, thank you very much.
You always play such great music. And you play my theme song as well. That's
right, because we've got great guests here on the X Zone. Georgina, we have to say so long for now, but until the next time we have a wonderful lunch together in the Yorkville area of Toronto, I wish you a very happy birthday. Nothing but health, happiness, and love.
Thank you.
And
Love
a
to
safe
Laura.
trip. I will. Take care of yourself, Georgina.
Okay.
Bye-bye, dear. Dr. Georgina Kennan, the director of the Ontario Hypnosis Centre. Toll free at 1-866-497-7469. Local calling in Toronto, 416-489-0333. Their address is 94 Cumberland Street, Suite 310, Toronto, Ontario. Or you can visit them online at www.ontariohypnosiscenter.com. When we come back from the news at the top of the hour at 6.5 minutes past, I'll be joined by Sherry Schreiner. We're going to be talking about UFOs, aliens on Earth, to the Bible Code, and much more. My name is Rob McConnell. This is the X Zone, and we're coming to you live and around the world on the Talkstar Radio Network from our studios in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. Don't go away. We'll be back shortly.